Welcome to the EarthWorks podcast, where our team will share the jargon of carbon with many of our turf friends that we've met over the past 35 plus years.
Hello all, and welcome to the EarthWorks podcast. This week, I'm your host, Jack Higgins, back on the Zoom, baby, and I'm here with our guest, Mr. Jeremy Tredway from Louisiana State University. Jeremy, welcome.
Thank you, Jack. Glad to be here.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy that you could get on and we can have this chat because, you reached out and you said, hey, I'm an EarthWorks podcast listener. I've got a story to tell. I'd love to be a guest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, dude. I
I'm
really
almost
appreciate
weekly,
it.
so glad to have the opportunity to hop on.
Oh, that's cool. Long time listener, first time caller, huh?
There you go.
Oh, good. So tell me, Jeremy, how long have you been? What is your title there?
My title is Director of Athletic Fields and Grounds.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
I started on January 2nd of this year.
Oh, wow.
So I am just about my 4-month anniversary, I guess.
Oh, that's great.
So not very long.
Yeah, no. Yeah, but you're in it.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're in it. I mean, I guess you came right into the spring sports season.
Yeah, it's funny. So I started on the 2nd of January, and we had the second largest snowstorm in Baton Rouge history. The second week I was here, about 8 inches of snow. I thought I'd taken the wrong turn out of Bloomington, Indiana, and headed north instead of south.
How many people told you, hey, what's the deal? New guy from Indiana brought the snow.
I brought it. I'm the one who brought it all down there. But the funny thing is 8 inches of snow in Bloomington is a good snow. I mean, I try to tell everybody I'm not from Buffalo, New York, so.
Oh, that's a good point.
8 inches of snow with no plows and no salt, that's enough. They thought I had the magic elixir to make it all go away, and I'm just so. Yeah, but other than that, a couple day hiccup and you are in full spring sports mode for sure.
Oh, well, so tell me, okay, so Bloomington, I always remember hearing this story that Bloomington is like the ice salt, or rather the rock salt capital of the world. So you're from Bloomington. Can you speak to that?
I guess I'm not sure if I've ever heard that. Is that a reference to a lot of ice?
I think what it is State Farm.
You're thinking of Bloomington, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bloomington, Indiana would be a little farther south than Bloomington, Illinois. But yes, Bloomington, Illinois is where State Farm is.
Okay. Yeah. And that's what so that's what I had. And I've heard they oversalt the roads like crazy in this town.
That's probably the case up there.
Okay. So Bloomington, Indiana, where is that?
Bloomington, Indiana is about an hour south of Indianapolis.
Okay.
Home of Indiana University.
That's right.
That's where I was the sports turf manager for about 8 years.
Okay. So that was a job leading into this.
Yes.
So you've been in this sports turf world, but I understand that you came up in golf. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, most of my career path has been in golf. Didn't really have any interest in sports turf or even really know much about it. Mm-hmm. But I had a guy who took over at the golf course at IU. They were doing a renovation. And at the time, the two departments, so the golf course superintendent ran the sports turf side of things as well there. So they were trying to separate those two positions. And I'm a longtime IU sports fan, so he played on my love of IU sports, and they kind of talked me into taking that job. And yeah, so it's been an interesting transition, but I don't think I would change it.
No, yeah. So you're basically 10 years into this now.
Yeah, and I moved 800 miles away from basically home to continue the path. So.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. I worked on a crew like this when I was a kid, actually, at Penn State. I worked on the Beaver Stadium crew, which did all those athletic fields, same deal.
Right.
Do you guys hire student wage payroll guys?
Yes. Yeah, we have currently probably between our baseball staff and just our regular part-time student staff. We probably have 15 to 20 students.
That was about us at Penn State, and
Yeah.
I loved it. It was like it really was a nice addition to the academic week, because you kind of fit it in. You fit in hours in between classes, right? Is that the way you
Yeah.
do it?
Yep. Yeah. The kids, most of them, the turf program here at LSU isn't very big. I think of those 15 to 20, maybe two or three of them are turf students.
Mm.
We've got accounting majors, communications majors, business majors, that all, help out and they all seem to enjoy it. So,
Yeah, looking to work, do the
yeah.
job.
Yeah. And then you get to watch a baseball game or football game for free and have a good seat. So,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there are certainly perks.
yeah.
Okay, so you've got experience both, in this cool season world and in this warm season world, and you were kind of thrown right into the warm season. But tell me, I bet you were overseeded.
Yeah, so when we got here, we have about 18 to 20 acres of Celebration Bermuda overseeded with rye.
Okay.
Um, so that's not unfamiliar to me. So in Bloomington, in areas south of where I worked prior, most of my experience has been with warm season grass,
Mm,
zoysia and Bermuda, bent grass greens. And so warm season grass is certainly not unfamiliar, and
got it.
overseeding is not something that was new to me.
Yeah, I
It's
kind
the
of.
speed at which everything moves down here. Back home, everything's dormant, not moving. I'm seeing Pythium down here in like January. So
Jeez.
it's, your fungicide program's got to be on a different level down here.
Well, at what point do you feel like you're like, I guess, are you treating both the Bermuda under the celebration underneath as well as the ryegrass up top? Where were you seeing Pythium and where's the
Mainly
pressure?
on the ryegrass.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so damp here. You,
Mm,
you have almost this morning fog, uh, kind of a haze that keeps
mm-hmm.
that, plant wet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're constantly trying to remove that moisture. But yes, you can see it on the Bermuda, but for the most part, my concern is keeping that overseed viable and not having it melt out on us.
So, okay, let's talk specifics. Your showcase field probably right now is baseball. Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah, I remember you telling me you had like I mean, you've got a very big baseball program at LSU.
Yes, this is all new to me. I'm not familiar with these SEC baseball and that popularity, the fandom that associated with it. I guess I've heard it, but to
Fandom.
actually
That's
witness
right.
it is something completely different.
So what's it
Yes.
like?
I compare it to college basketball in the Midwest.
Okay.
Indiana basketball, you've got 15,000 rabid fans going crazy, and you just take that and put it in a baseball park. And these people are having a good time from start to finish. I
Oh,
sent
it's
you
like a
that video the
tailgating
other
scene.
night from the Tennessee game. They walked it off at 1:30 a.m. And I mean, the place was just going bananas.
Dude,
Um,
insane. Yeah, we'll have to post
so
that video.
yeah, so Alex Box Stadium is home of the LSU Tigers. Probably
Okay.
seven-time national champions, most recently in 2023.
Wow.
So, and yeah, again, Celebration Bermuda, overseeded with rye.
Is it right on campus? Is it what's your setup like?
I
Are
would
you
call us on the south. I'm a little directionally challenged, but on the south end of campus. So if you walked out of my office and headed kind of due west, you would hit the
Mhm.
Mississippi River. I mean, I can see the levee right outside my door.
Oh,
So
that's so cool.
you
And
can't
how
really,
well are your athletic fields over that direction as well?
well, so Alex Box would be on the far end of that. Softball is a little bit farther, but yeah, so Tiger Stadium's kind of across the road, headed closer to campus, what I
Mm-hmm.
would call central campus.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't say we were right in the heart of campus, but we're certainly walking distance for most people.
So on any given game day, you get like a whole like spectator scene, tailgating. It's
Oh
a big
yeah, for
deal.
baseball, it's crazy. There'll be tailgating, RVs, and I'm certainly not on football level, but it's certainly an event.
All
Yeah.
right, yeah. So that's the deal. And you haven't been there for football yet, but I mean,
No, I'm looking forward to it. I just put the football dates on the calendar
heck yeah.
the other day.
Heck yeah. Okay, so let's get back to that, to setting up for baseball. You got this, you're maintaining this ryegrass. So you say it's kind of soggy and soppy overnight. What are your overnight lows in baseball season?
Well, so right now we're, heading towards the end of baseball season, but we're probably gonna be anywhere from 65 to 75.
Okay, so
I,
you'll have 75-degree nights already.
yes. Yeah, I would say this past week we probably haven't gone below 70 at
Yeah,
night.
that's tough, man. That
And
is.
we're 90 degrees, highs for the most
Mhm.
part. 85
Yeah,
to 90.
you're maintaining ryegrass. That is straight Pythium weather.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
my
doubt.
fungicide salesman is pretty happy with me.
There you go. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I guess. So, tell me, how do you maintain these fields? You're like spraying weekly. Your fertility. Let's hear like kind of
Yeah,
your
so
approach.
the unique thing about college sports is that you have teams that are some are in season, some aren't. So,
Mm-hmm.
you're treating things a little differently. Say, for instance, soccer. We have women's soccer, they're not in season. So, the guy who runs that field, he's transitioned out. He sprayed out his herbicide just to get the rye out. He's been out of aggressively verticutting, aerifying. He's in full Bermuda push mode.
Right. Oh, that's nice. Okay. And it sounds like you have your kind of setup so that you have a greenkeeper over each field. Is that the way you do it?
Yeah, so I have five full-time staff members.
Okay.
I have one who oversees baseball and he has an assistant, one who oversees softball and has an assistant, and then a soccer, and he's kind of specific to soccer. And
Is
then
that one soccer stadium, or is it
yeah,
soccer
so
plus
it's
practice?
a
Is it
soccer stadium and a practice. And he also
okay?
serves as the assistant at baseball.
Got it.
And
Okay.
then I have a floater who's kind of does a little bit of everything, handles the
Hmm.
painting, takes care of the practice football fields. We have three grass practice football fields
Jeez.
and one synthetic outdoor and then the indoor. So I have a great staff.
Does everyone do football? Is that the
Yeah,
deal?
so it'll all be all hands on deck. Football is a beast in of itself. Just the painting alone is about a 3-day operation if you get good weather.
Hmm.
So yeah, and thankfully in the fall things kind of clear out, so football becomes, the
The
thing that
focus.
everybody can kind of focus on for the most part.
Well, I imagine the soccer guy's still maintaining, like you have a soccer season at that time, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I mean, he's going to have to be dedicated to that, but if I've got to yank him off to come help paint, that's just the nature of
that
the.
those are my best memories of work in Beaver Stadium was Wednesday, Thursday, paint days, like where it was just be like 20, 25 guys out on the field, all with buckets and
Right.
just painting, talking, hanging, painting. We had a good time.
But the turf manager's probably looking at the weather the whole time, thinking, "I got to get this done before the rain comes. How am I going to fit this in?" So that's
My boss when we started was Bob Hudzik, and he's like a legend in that he was there forever and he did a remarkable job. And he, like you said, in Bloomington, when he got the job, I think in like the 70s, he was the superintendent of 36 golf holes and the head greenkeeper for the whole athletic program.
mhm.
Like it's a big job.
Yeah, yeah, that's more than anybody wants.
So yeah, especially when you got, at that time it was probably 75,000 people in the stadium every,
Right.
every weekend. Jeez. It's a lot. So, but yes, so painting is quite an ordeal. And
Yeah.
you've got the fade, man. You've got the tiger eye.
Tiger eye fades. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but every 5 yard lines at LSU has a number instead of every 10
Oh,
yards.
right.
So that adds
Jeez.
extra paint. And
Well, the reason why we had so much paint was we had like a 3 inch border around every number.
Mhm.
I don't know. Do you guys do that too?
No, now we just what do they we shadow the numbers a
Oh,
little, but it's
okay.
certainly not it's not the big wide border around the numbers.
Right, right. Yeah. Oh, it's a lot of painting, no doubt.
Yes,
No doubt.
absolutely.
Okay, so we were at your soccer is your because you're at not in season right now, you're pushing that out and it's you've already
Yes.
you've
Soccer, football. I got to get through one more concert in the stadium and I can start pushing Tiger Stadium. But for baseball, for instance, you can't really afford to have that ugly transition if you can avoid it. So it's not like you can grab the herbicide and go out and spray and have that dingy look you get during transition.
as far as timing goes with lining up with the plant, baseball's the hardest, I think.
Right.
It's just a tough time of year.
Yeah, and aesthetics matter. It's so
Especially in
easy to
baseball.
say, we got to do what's best for the plant, or you got to do what's best for the athlete, which is all true. You need all that, but those pictures on social media or on the SEC network or wherever it's being broadcast, you want it to have the looking the best you can, and so when I got here we were kind of all in on the first time we were going to try to push ryegrass through the season.
Mm-hmm.
We have some shade issues at Alex Box.
Okay.
The press box, basically from winter solstice there till probably the 1st of March, you get almost no sun.
Oh
So
gosh.
Bermuda is, not doing it super well in that area.
Well, also you told me that that area takes a lot of traffic, an enormous amount of
Yes.
abuse.
So
Is that the wedge area that you
the
were
wedge,
talking?
as we call it, that's where the trap goes on when they're hitting, so you're eating those ground balls in that specific spot
That's in front of the mound or behind them?
in front. So out in
Yeah,
front between the batter's box and the pitching rubber, that area.
yeah.
And probably 350 days out of the year that field's being used.
Geez.
So, that just creates excess traffic. And last night, for instance, or yesterday afternoon, the managers rolled the trap, which is basically a small tarp,
Mm-hmm.
onto the infield, and they just left it rolled over on top of itself, and it laid out there for a couple hours.
Thanks, guys.
And it's 90 degrees, so double the tarp up, you're probably 120, 130 under that thing. And by the time we got it removed, we were on fire under there. So
Oh yeah, and this is the ryegrass. I mean, you're
yeah.
so you were saying that this year is the first year that you're really trying that they're going to really try and keep the ryegrass throughout the whole season.
Yeah, so traditionally you would find a window during the season to get to the sod farm. We have a small 10,000 square foot sod farm called
Okay.
Celebration Bermuda. You cut it out and resod it sometime in season.
Well, that 10,000 square feet, that must only be the infield, right?
Well, you're only sodding that wedge.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
So that's just the nature of the beast. Kind of like you see in the NFL where they sod between the hashes
of
down the
course.
middle of the field. You're picking that area out to resod. The rest of the infields doesn't take the traffic. So our goal was we called it Operation No Resod. And in order to make it through there, we have to lean heavy into ryegrass. And is it the best way moving forward? I don't know. But that's where
Oh,
I'm at this year.
because you're yeah, like you saying you're leaning heavy into ryegrass, that means that you're really depleting the base Bermuda, the base celebration.
If we lose that wedge, that rye, we will be down to dirt.
Okay, got it. We're all rye at this point
We
there.
might have a few leaks
Sprigs.
out. but
Right.
they're not gonna pass any kind of aesthetics test or playability test.
So what's the approach? I mean, like this was the goal. What have you been doing? Maybe fertility, cultural practices.
Yeah, so my baseball guy's pretty dialed in agronomically. I trust his judgment on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a few things. There's, agronomically, it's moisture management.
Okay.
Just constantly trying to keep that moisture balanced because it's odd, you might get 3 inches of rain, but the tarp was on, so that area didn't get 3 inches of rain.
I've seen that for years on soil tests. On soil tests, I see sodium like twice as high in the under the tarp in the infield as opposed to the outfield because it doesn't get the natural rain
Right,
like you're saying,
right.
and it then therefore it relies doubly on irrigation water, which often on a stadium is a city line.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's the way it is
So,
here.
yeah, okay. So, yeah, like just a consistent kind of you stacking
Mhm.
of salt.
Now we have worked hard and the coaches have been good. They've trusted us we've not tarped a couple times when in the past it probably would have been.
Mm-hmm.
To keep that tarp off, to get some of those natural rains. As it costs us a little more in conditioner to try and get the field back to play, yes, but we feel like that was worth it. Mother Nature is the best elixir. We know that.
Has anyone ever, I'm thinking out loud, has anyone ever like gone after trying to use like a some kind of tarp that allowed rain to get to the infield grass?
I don't know about that, but they do make like skin only tarps.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
So
skip,
where we just go on the skin, but
right.
I'm not probably as adept in my tarp game as I should be. It seems like for the most part, it is just basically a giant tarp that covers.
I mean, look at every MLB, everything you've ever seen is just the big old tarp. But yeah, I mean, skin only tarp makes sense for because it's not just the inside the diamond, it's the wings too.
Oh
Wings
yeah.
take so much abuse, don't they?
Yep.
That's probably another hot topic area.
Yep. That's all part of the tarp stamp I was telling you about the other day, where you take that off and it looks like a giant stamp on your infield and out there beyond your or your infield positions on the grass. You see that off color or that bronzing of the tip of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
to piggyback off that fertility wise, we're probably spoon feeding. I guess I'm taking an approach from the transition zone where I came from. How do I manage bent grass greens in July?
Yes.
I'm kind of spoon feeding. We're going to go out with some pencil tines
Yes.
tomorrow and get a little air in them, not super aggressive. But just that babying you have to do in the Midwest in the summer with a C3 plant, is rye
Mm.
as hardy as bent? Probably not, but that's where the fungicides come in. But
Well,
I'm not going out in July in the
yeah.
Midwest to put a tarp across my putting green.
No, you're
That
not. Yeah.
career
And like you
suicide.
said, you've got that and also the rye is just a baby of a plant, like
Yep.
compared to bentgrass.
Yep.
But you do have an end date now. When's the last homestand?
So in a perfect world for us, we would host super regionals,
Uh,
and that would end on the 8th of June.
That's an SEC tournament, super
No,
regionals.
so in the NCAA tournament, you host if you're lucky, you host a regional and then a super regional, and then you go
Okay.
on to the national championship in Omaha.
Okay, got it. So
So for LSU, the standard would be to host that super regional, which would be that first weekend in June.
okay, so first weekend in June. Oof. Another 5 weeks.
Yes. Now
Yeah.
we do catch a break, so we have our last home series next weekend, and then we will have basically a 3-week break, and there. It's going to be huge for us before the regional starts.
Okay, good. Good. So you have this nice 3 week
Because
rest period.
we're just putting seed out. I mean, it's crazy to think, but we're all in on. I mean, he's just fogging seed in that wedge.
That makes sense. I mean, that's what you do. That's what you do with ryegrass. You know, who knows what the real numbers are there at Augusta, but I think it's a lot of ryegrass
Right.
seed per thousand, dude.
Right. Yeah,
You
and
know?
especially when you're narrowed to a specific area like we are,
Hmm.
you told me we
Hmm.
were 50 pounds per thousand. I would
Yeah.
probably not.
That's what it would take. It would easily take that,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just over time. Yeah. Um, so okay, cool. So that's like, is softball, obviously you don't have the infield, but do you have softball stadium? I don't,
Yep.
yeah.
Softball is you know, is
Does that
softball.
does
So you
that get
don't
the
have the
same
infield.
attention? Yeah, does that get the same attentions fan wise and
Well, I mean, not like on the level as baseball does, but relative to softball as a whole, I would say LSU is one of the bigger draws. We might
cool,
get 3,000 people at a
cool.
softball game. Softball is a growing sport, and
Yeah.
the SEC again. I'd have to look at the top 10 teams in the country, but I bet in the SEC probably has 7 or 8 of those top 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so yeah, it's.
Are there wear areas on that field? I mean, I think it's a narrow outfield,
Oh, the
right?
where areas at softball where for some reason where the position players stand in the outfield, center
Yes.
field, we will be resodding those for the second or third time ahead of
Mm.
regionals.
So that's coming out of your 10,000 square feet,
Yeah.
your sod farm. Now,
Uh,
and is that an overseeded? Is that nursery's overseeded right now?
it is, but it's probably gone through more of a natural transition right now because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't sprayed a lot of fungicide on that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with it just being Bermuda at this point. Now, the softball field he didn't spray it out, but he has been pretty aggressive with that field.
Okay.
And so I'm saying you're probably 90% Bermuda over there. You don't
At
have the
this
shade
point.
issues. You don't have that constant traffic over there that you have at baseball
Mm-hmm.
throughout the entire season. So I think you get a little better, heartier stand of Bermuda um, as a whole out there.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Like, yeah, because it's really shade sounds like it's a major limiting factor over at that Bosch Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So what's going on at football? Did you have to paint some lines for like a spring game at all or are you
Yeah, so I don't know how familiar you are. They've kind of transitioned a lot of teams away from the spring game. They don't
Oh,
call it that
okay.
anymore. They call it like spring practice.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's not nearly as big a deal.
All
Um,
right.
so
So you didn't have to paint.
we did. It was a
Oh.
dumbed down version of the paint job. It wasn't a full paint, but yes, had lines, had the faded tiger eye, had some LSU logos in the end zone. Um, so yeah, that was 2 or 3 weeks ago we did that.
Mm-hmm.
It still has rye in it. I'm just chomping at the bit to get the rye out, but we had to have it looking good for one more concert here at the end of this
Yeah,
week.
I didn't realize you guys have concerts. Jeez.
Yeah, if you get a chance, I wasn't here for this, but in 2023, Garth Brooks played in front of 110,000 in Tiger Stadium.
Oh my
And I don't know if you're
gosh.
familiar with Garth Brooks, but he's got
Oh.
a song called Callin' Baton Rouge.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
of
when he
course.
played it, it actually shook. The ground actually shook and it was registered on the Richter scale.
Damn, dude. Damn, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually was there once. I was in the stadium once back in
Okay.
college time. Yeah, like this would have been in the spring of 2006. I was there because let's see, Katrina was '05, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and that was September '05. In the spring semester there, I signed up for a class, registered for a class that was like we got our 3 credits by organizing and executing a volunteer trip to help rebuild. We picked like 4 sites. It was all College of Ag, so they were all kind of like ag sites. But
Hmm.
one was like a nurse, one was like this big kind of nursery greenhouse place. The other was like a big park, like a park that got overrun. There was a couple things, but we then got in when we first got down there, we went up to Baton Rouge, which is what, about an hour north of New
Yep.
Orleans.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so we went up to Baton Rouge and met with somebody in the College of Ag over there. I imagine you guys are the land grant university for
Yes. Yeah.
Louisiana. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I remember, yeah, we toured around the stadium. I was in Big Tiger. We toured around the campus and I was in Tiger Stadium. Very cool. Very cool. It's a really nice campus there.
Yeah.
Really nice setting. You
Right.
got like the Spanish moss scene and everything,
Oh yeah,
right?
got all the big live oaks and everything. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The live oaks. Yeah, love it. Which must have been new for you.
Yeah. So Bloomington certainly doesn't have live oaks, but as far as campuses go, I would say there's probably not any prettier than Bloomington, Indiana's campus.
Oh,
So
really? I've
I had
never
a
been
high
to IU.
LSU has a high standard to meet when it comes to a beauty of
What do you like? What do you love about IU?
it's just it kind of sits in just enough of a hilly little area. Probably not dissimilar to Happy Valley.
Okay, that's right.
Kind of that setting, but they go all out with their flowers, and
Hmm.
this time of year they have the cream and crimson tulips planted throughout the
Hmm.
campus, and so they do a crazy job with their annual flowers up there.
So, do you have a counterpoint or that counterpart in like campus maintenance that you talk to? Do you know you
Yeah,
like
so a couple various people, you have your campus people who take care of the campus, and then we have what the UREC folks who take care of the rec fields.
oh, you don't take care of intramural
Right. I think at
fields?
Penn State, you guys do take care of
Yeah,
the
we did. Yeah,
fields,
we
right?
do. Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
So we have a
I like
separate
we
arm.
did, and they still do. I know. Yes.
Yeah. And then we have a small golf course here, but it's not where the team plays or anything. They play at a course south of
So
here.
there's a separate crew for the golf.
Yeah.
It's a student golf course, really, right? I
Yes.
imagine
You
all
wouldn't.
all colleges need that.
Right.
I think that's a
Yeah.
nice thing. Yeah, good deal, dude. So what's coming up for you summertime projects? What do you got? Like what's on the
Yeah.
horizon
So
for you?
summertime that's kind of that, it depends where you're at. Baseball and softball will be recovering, from
Hmm.
the wear and the traffic of the season.
You have
And
camps though, maybe?
yes, I was just looking at again, Alex Box stadiums use 350 days out of the year, and I don't think we might have a few open dates in June, but July and August, they got the Savannah Bananas coming in.
Heck
I'm not
yeah.
the big time team now, but they've got like a minor league Savannah Bananas now
Oh,
that
sure. What was the what's who's the Harlem Globetrotters nemesis? The
uh,
Washington Wizards? Yeah,
Generals.
Generals. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Generals. The Gen
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you got like the Generals coming to town.
Right. So we have all that. Camps again is a big thing. And then, football will be doing everything possible to get Tiger Stadium and the practice fields ready for, September 6th is our first home game. So
Wow.
everything we open up in September with back to back to back home games. So,
Hmm.
three home games in a row. We are very fortunate. Our team does not do anything on the field. They
Ooh,
don't
that's
even do a
nice.
Friday walkthrough on the field.
That's
They're
nice.
contained to their facility across the road, and
Which sounds very big. I mean, you've got three
yeah,
grass fields, a
yeah,
synthetic field.
yeah, they have all the bells and whistles they need.
No doubt. No doubt.
So,
Oh,
uh,
it's impressive. College campuses are so impressive.
right.
Many universes, anything you could imagine, they
Oh
got.
yeah, the luxury items, the cafeterias and the spas, and
Uh-huh.
they got barber shops in there now where they get the points, and yeah, they're not struggling too bad on that end.
That's pretty wild.
And it'll be a
Okay,
learning curve for me. I've never messed with Celebration.
sure.
I have pretty extensive history with Bermudas like Tahoma, Northbridge, Latitude, and Patriot. But this will be my first time
So
playing
though
around.
you had all those athletic fields, all those grasses on athletic fields in Bloomington?
Mhm. When I
Okay, yeah.
got there, and by the time I left, I had transitioned to everything except one field to Tahoma. Uh,
Mm. Was
so
it Bermuda? Was it like Patriot when you got there, or did you still
it's
have were
actually
your
Patriot and Riviera when I got there, and
wow.
transitioned to Latitude initially, and then to Northbridge, which I like
Hmm.
Northbridge, but then I ended up at Tahoma for my last three resods.
Yeah, they're all good. They're those three are all really impressive grasses to me.
Right. Latitude was a little fickle, and with cold, I got some winter kill on there. That's kind of why I transitioned away from it.
I think Tahoma and Northbridge are supposed to be better in the cold weather. Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I talked to some guys back home yesterday, and the stuff's not greening up yet. They had a really cold,
The whole country. I mean, like
yeah,
we started. You had 8 inches of
right.
snow in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, and so there's some concern a little bit with winter kill back there, but yeah, the celebration is just it's very wide bladed. I don't,
Hmm.
it's super aggressive. I can already see it now,
Hmm.
running like crazy. So I'm going to be working to tighten it up. They haven't really had what I would call an aggressive PGR program on their turf down here.
Okay.
I'm pretty aggressive when it comes to PGRs. I think you've got to
Sure.
have them, especially if you got Bermuda running wild.
Yeah,
Um,
man. Yeah, yeah. You gotta get it tight, and you gotta get that lateral recovery, that root growth.
right,
And particularly in your situation, that tensile strength, get a cleat in the ground and be able to shift.
right. And for me, I don't know if I'm going to go down this road yet, but in the future, I hope to. I want to get away from overseeding.
Mm, yeah, just
So
grow
I would like to
really
use more of,
strong.
of the grow covers to keep the Bermuda. You still November here, you're still seeing a lot of 85-degree days. You make it
Mm-hmm.
some cooler nights.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could really. It's just so hard to keep ryegrass alive down here. Unless it's January or February or late December.
That's right.
I
That makes
mean,
sense. You
it's
are like we started saying, I mean, like you have 75-degree nights in April.
right.
It's for stretches and stretches. That's not ryegrass weather.
And you get a lot of rain. I won't say this is Miami weather here, but by all accounts, you get an afternoon thunderstorm almost on the clock every afternoon, starting in April. And it's right afterwards. You can just see the heat rising.
Hmm.
It's just very humid.
Well, you're right. Like with that kind of weather, if you were in Indiana, you'd be saying like, I we could grow Bermuda grass late into the year. We could
Yeah,
grow 10 months of the year Bermuda grass. So Tahoma or Northbridge.
right.
Would you think you'd have to change turf types or change cultivars there to be able to do that without an overseed?
I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Celebration on that end of things.
Right.
I would assume that it's going to be a little less tolerant of, some cool nights,
Mm-hmm.
more so than a Northbridge or Tahoma would be.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly like the finer leaf blade on those Bermudas compared to the coarser, wider bladed, almost looks like fescue sometimes.
What are you mowing that at? Like say Tiger Stadium when you're setting up for your opening games. What is that mowed at?
So, for me, football is somewhere between 5/8 and 3/4, depending
Mm-hmm.
on what kind of mat I've got. I need a little cushion.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can get it where I feel like it's got enough cushion at 5/8, I'll stay there. But I will
Mm-hmm.
go up to 3/4 if I need to. I'd like to
Makes
stay away
sense.
from an inch. And so soccer, if they want it really fast, ball roll, it's kind of more like golf in that instance.
Yes.
We'll be at 5/8 probably fairly consistently.
Mm-hmm. Make it
So
really tight. Top dress?
Yeah, very, very low organic matter in these fields. So, I go back and forth. I use top dressing for smoothing more than anything. I'm not trying to dilute or
Sure.
anything. Um,
Yeah.
I
You're
don't know
more
what the perk rate on Tiger Stadium would be, but I'm gonna guess from what I've seen, you're probably 25 to 30 inches an hour.
mm,
Yeah, I mean,
just going through,
you can't be out there playing Alabama on a Saturday night and get one of those toad stranglers that comes down and that, have water standing everywhere. And that thing just, it eats water. Absolutely eats it.
which is, yeah, probably a good thing. I mean, you'd rather that than the opposite.
Right. If you got to take one over the other, but again, you're not, you talking about fertility and stuff, you're not holding nutrients much,
Hmm.
anything like that. You
So
know,
I guess most of your Earthworks experience is more up in Indiana. What have you, because we don't know each other well or at all. Like this is kind of us meeting. What's your Earthworks? What's your experience with Earthworks?
Yeah, so again, I'm always looking, and I don't know if this is the right term. I hear it and go, build some soil structure within that sand root zone. So I like to use 545. I've
That is
played
the
with
right term.
I've played with the 822, a little higher, nitrogen
I
soil.
think that product is going to be a key product for you with the celebration.
Right.
You
And
know, you
so for instance, we'll go out next week or Friday. Hopefully I can spray out the field. We'll pull cores. We'll do an aggressive verticut. We'll clean it up. We'll put a little sand, some 545. I'll probably use the renovate in high traffic areas.
awesome.
Along the sidelines where we get beat up, end zones, between the hashes. So, I've thought about using maybe the 333 product
Yeah.
this year as well.
Well, as far as building soil structure, that 333 does a remarkable job because you're inoculating with the mycorrhizae, so and then that biology does a great job at building humus, at creating some lasting organic matter that still allows water to percolate. You know,
Right. And
you
that's
got
the
a long
fine
time.
line that you walk with all
That's
of
right.
this is, you can't just end up with this thatchy surface that just doesn't percolate anything.
That's right.
But
That's
it's
right.
an awesome growing environment, but it it doesn't get me through, and I do think a little more thatch would help with stability a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're down at a 0.5% organic matter, that's just splatter city to me. Like
Right, like playing on a beach or
right,
something.
right. Yeah, you don't have any structure. There you go, like playing on a beach. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's interesting. You messed around with the liquids as well?
I have not used any of the liquids. I've thought
Okay.
about the C3,
That's the product to give a look.
right, and I just need to dive a little bit more into that.
The
I
nice thing
take a
about
pretty
that one.
analytical approach to my fertilization.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken the whole clipping volume thing from golf and brought it with me to sports turf. So, I kind of monitor and do my fertilization based more on what I'm seeing. In the
Mm-hmm.
past down here, it was basically put a pound of nitrogen out 6 months, every month for 6 months, get 6 pounds out and go down that road. That's not how I approach things.
Right.
So,
You're kind of still feeling it out and learning the grass, learning the fields, learning the soil types, seeing how it all works.
right. And so we'll see where all that takes me. But again, it's like the Renovate is a huge product for us. When we talk about that wedge of baseball,
I figured.
I'd have to pull the screen up right now, but he's been told that I want that buried in Renovate because we're going to poke holes and try and get that down into the holes and, help with the recovery.
And
It's
as
always
this
been a big part of my divot mix.
That's right. That's it. Like establishment, of new from seed. It's a remarkable product.
Right. It
Yeah,
always
that
worked well for me on goal miles.
hmm
Prior, with soccer, goal miles are another area that just get beat to death.
I'm surprised you haven't told me about FIFA. Are you guys doing any work with FIFA in the next 2 years?
No, we have not heard anything on my end with FIFA. We have had
Okay.
some talks, that with the EPL teams that are coming over and playing like their,
The Club World Cup.
exhibition matches or whatever.
Right, right. That's
It,
happening this summer, I believe.
yeah, but nothing on our end. I don't know if we're just not geographically in the right spot for that.
Could
Yeah,
be.
we'd have.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
know where the Southeast Stadium is for the World Cup, if there is one.
Atlanta's probably one of them. I don't know if Houston would be. So we're about 4 hours from Houston, 6 hours from Dallas.
Hmm.
So,
They were always looking for places. What I've heard is they're looking for places that have like a good, easy regional airport and, they can get in and out of. I don't know.
yeah. And again, I don't know what our administration's view on some of that
Exactly.
stuff is. So, but
You guys are busy enough, it sounds like.
right. Yes. Yeah, I don't know if I need that on my plate, especially my first summer here. So,
Um, so just we can wrap this up. When is this concert at Tiger Stadium, your last concert that you're saying before
yeah, so
football?
it's just a small concert where they're, it's for donors and stuff.
Hmm.
They sold tables, it's kind of one of those things. So it's not a big concert. It is
Got
this
it.
weekend. It's Saturday night. We've got to do a full paint for it. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, we'll start painting Thursday. Hopefully have it done by the end of the day Friday. Have the concert. They're supposed to tear it all down on Sunday, and hopefully by that point we'll kind of be clear of that stuff, and I'll have, the next 3 months to kind of start um, and get to where we're in a good spot there for the 1st of September.
Get it going.
Yeah.
As we wrap this up, shed some light on the tiger eye. Like, was there a learning curve? Do you have one guy that does that? Is that like a specialized thing? What's the story?
Yeah, so my guy Sheldon he's my painting guru. He takes care of the eye. I probably can't give away the secret to what he does to make
Yep.
it look faded.
Okay.
That's
All
just
right.
probably his trade secret. He might
Ooh,
come.
I love this. This is good
Um,
stuff.
but he typically, now I'll give him credit. I've seen him paint it a couple times. He'll bring a couple of the new guys out and kind of let them, he'll give them a tutorial. But for me, when it comes to, I'm not. I told the guys the other day I flunked art in high school. I'm not artsy by any means. It's probably a little bit of the golf course guy in me. I'm not. The painting part of it is,
Yeah.
you talk about the World Cup. When you play the World Cup, it's like the biggest event in sports, and there's no paint other than the lines. I don't
That's
know.
right. That's right. And there's barely lines on a soccer field.
Right. So the whole painting and all the prettiness takes away from my nice green stain of grass. But
Hmm.
yeah, so Sheldon paints the tiger eye. Not
How
much.
long? Yeah, how long has he been doing that?
I would say Sheldon's probably going on his 7th or 8th year here.
All right.
And he's just one of those guys he's very detail oriented, which is important in that, he takes pride in that way that tiger eye looks. And
Millions of people watch it, see it every
yeah,
weekend.
that's the thing when they all rush the field. I think last year they stormed the field. Everybody wants to come out. You got to form this circle around the tiger eye because everybody wants to come take a chunk out and take a chunk of the
Oh my
tiger eye
gosh.
with them.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was told when I first got here that the most hallowed ground in Louisiana is Tiger Stadium, and the
Okay.
second most hallowed is Alex Box Stadium. So, uh, the pressure was on from the beginning on
The
that. And
pressure's on.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's cool, man. I'm happy for you. It sounds like a really fun job. And what I was always impressed when, going to Louisiana is it's an area of the country because I've been a couple times that you kind of feel like you're in a whole different country. Like it's really unique.
right.
Louis-
So I had never been to Louisiana before I took
Okay.
the job. Or actually before I interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Flew down, and then my wife and I came down a couple of weeks later, and the people are so friendly. Not that the people in the Midwest aren't, but it's just a different, like you said, level of friendliness.
Uh-huh.
We just felt comfortable with the whole thing.
That's great.
Neither one of us have ever lived outside of our little circle of the Midwest.
Okay.
So we kind of went head first into Southern living, Southern hospitality. So
Baton Rouge, baby. Yeah.
yeah, here we
Oh,
are in
that's
the heart of the SEC, and
having a good
see how it
time.
goes.
Jeremy, thank you so much for getting on with me.
Absolutely, Jack. I
Ye-
enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
did.
this was fun. Yeah, we'll have to have you on again and like kind of get an update as you or spend more time there and kind of implement some of your program. I
Yeah, after
really
that first football season, it might be interesting to see if I've got any hair left or how
That's
I feel
that's
about it.
what we're gonna do. Let's get on at the end of the year after the football season, see how your first season went.
Absolutely, Jack. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you, Jeremy.
All right. Take care.
See ya.